Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be doing a replay analysis basically where I'm just going to kind of go through one of my previous games, sort of talk about my thought process, and definitely try and criticize myself, find places where I could have improved even though we did win the game. There's a lot of room for improvement always, especially at my level where I'm not very good. I can make a lot of different choices. So we're just going to go ahead and hop into player perspective and go into my view here. And I might occasionally jump out and go into free camera, but for the most part, we'll just be in my perspective, just because I think that's the most effective way to learn. I mean, you can look at other people's and check and see. Okay, so gotta smoke some tangos here. Starting items are pretty good. We have pretty good level 1 with the Spirit Siphon, but Gyrocopter and CM and Lion are also very good. So my teammates decided to engage, and I just got barricade because I thought they were going to try and run away, but instead they kept fighting. So anyway, added a couple of right clicks, got the first click, and first kill, sorry. Because the DP was dead, I decided to take that last hit. And I was being helped by Rubik here, so support was great, and that made me get sentries. And as you saw, Invoker has a ward on him, so we're just going to go ahead and look at the ward here. And so I put the sentry down mid so that DP could basically just munch on his ward as soon as he put it up, which I think happens relatively soon. But we can take a look at that in a sec. So because I still had to make my way down to the lane where I was planning on spending most of my time, but ended up not, I stacked a camp just on the way there. Make sure you're always doing something. Right now would have been a good time to pull, I think. Lane's pretty much pushed out and it's 15, so there's one mistake that I should have done, and I noticed it quite a bit late. But luckily Rubik was on it as well, and he managed to pull the big camp. So we'll kind of speed up here as things die down. So we're on 130. I'm looking to pull again, perhaps. I don't know if this is necessarily a good idea, but we wanted to go for a kill on the Sven early. I mean, he's a solo Sven and has one stun to offer and very little escape. And maybe I should have looked at this now, but I was trying to make sure that the pull through went successfully. And yeah, see, I should have been there. We did open up a kill for that, which was great. But I definitely should have pulled, looped around to the other side, and so come around to, let's see here. Should have pulled and looped around up to the trees here and done that. Anyway, I knew that the Invoker placed his ward and the Death Prophet dewarded. We saw the Lion come up here, which means he probably warded there, but I was just waiting for the Invoker to step up, and then we could just Spirit Siphon into wall, and he got an Ice Wall off, which I think is okay, but Invoker's really slow. He's got 280 move speed, so my thought was kind of just get an early kill on him. He was playing pretty far up. I've been missing pretty much the whole game, so I think he's just not looking at the map kind of enough. And anyway, now that I have gone mid and kind of helped out bot, I decided to go top and see if we could kind of rotate for something on the CM. I told him I was coming and basically just said, go, like, be super aggressive right now, because if she comes up on you and the Lion comes from behind, like, we can probably get a double kill. And that's kind of what happened. The Gyro decided to step up thinking he had the Lion here to help, and I thought about glimpsing the Lion here, but he had already stunned, so there's no point in me glimpsing the Lion. Like, the Gyrocopter has another rocket barrage that's coming up, and so I needed to prioritize that, because the magic damage against Timber is pretty strong. So anyway, kind of moved in there. I didn't really want to place a ward because I figured they probably had a sentry there, if not a ward already, and it wouldn't have been incredibly successful. I don't know about this cloak on Timber. I think it might actually be pretty good, especially up against the lineup that he's on. But anyway, back mid, I've got enough money right now. Like, I got first blood, so I had boots, which was great, and you know, wards are coming in aplenty. I bought a smoke right off the bat because Rubik kind of helped me out, which is the beauty of having two supports. And so I'm just waiting for the lane to push out after this range creep dies. I was pinging to have him block the wave so it would meet a little bit back here. So he steps forward, steps into the fog, and I'm going to start inching up just as my smoke dies, and rinse and repeat. You know, he's got the silence off at this point, so easy kill. Speed up here as we move forward into the next part of the game. I was careful about that. I was trying to block the Forge Spirit just so that more right clicks couldn't come in case someone was deciding to wrap around. And right now our carry is leading in CS and our mid is doing really well. We've got 2 kills on the mid and 1 on the CK, so laning stage is going really well. I don't have too much of a problem with the way that mid and bottom are going, so I decided to spend a little bit more time top. I almost got caught out here. I should have known that there was a ward and they could have seen me. Now right here I want to just pause a sec. And I don't know if this was my mistake or Timber's. I don't know. I think one of us, maybe not both, but one, should have stayed for this because we have 6 creeps right here. The lane's pushing in. We have creeps coming, and it's a pretty safe place to just get XP. So one of us definitely should have stayed, pulled aggro off the tower, because it ends up in a push, and the push doesn't turn out so well. So let's see how it goes here. So they push the tower down, and then he TPs in and gets basically immediately nuked down back to where he was before. However, TP rotations, force the dive, DP comes in with their ult. Easy triple kill. Timber's already level 6, which is really great. And I'm on my way to mana boots. I can see that most of these people are pretty low on mana, and there's a lion against us who can drain mana pretty quickly. So I just wanted to make sure that I was replenishing mana as fast as possible. And that way I can kind of spam these nukes. Glimpse is really strong, but this is actually a really good damage nuke at level 1, so I considered maxing that next. But typically the way that things go is I get maxed Glimpse just because of the range it gets you. You have 1800 range, which is more than a full screen, and it's really powerful. I mean, I think a lot of other Disruptor players glimpse people out of TPs, which is really annoying, and I don't know if it's necessarily the right call. Anyway, we saw Invoker pushing mid, saw Forge Spirits coming in, DP wanted to kill him, so I TP'd in, kind of helped out with that. I didn't really need to. I thought he was going to start running away when Rubik came, and so I thought we needed the glimpse to secure it, but we didn't. It's okay though. During this time, CK has been kind of lacking in support now. I've kind of neglected him just because we have a tri-lane top, and I kind of wanted to ensure a little bit more for our gyrocopter, or not for the gyrocopter, but for the Timber, who's doing extremely well. I mean, level 4, level 5, and level 4 against a level 6 Timber, that's really good, and that's not how your tri-lane should be going. Things are going well. Pretty much from here on out, it's kind of like we've won the game. I mean, as long as you don't mess up from here, it's good, and that's why the early game is so important, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't really hit on too much. I'm really trying to work on early game, and I basically just look at my my replays until like 20 minutes max, just because I think it's good to know how you messed up in the early game. Because if you have 2 items ahead of your opponents and 4 levels by the time you're at 15 minutes, like, they can't do anything, and you have already won if you're good enough, especially at my level where people don't really understand how to take advantage of mistakes. I took this weird route just to dodge the Sunstrike, and I was kind of waiting here to see if he would throw another one out, but looks like he was basically either forgot or, well, he wanted to go for the Rubik. So they've made a lot of mistakes. The Sven chases here and goes for a support kill on the Rubik, and you'll see Invoker do that later in the game. But it was a pretty big mistake because he ends up dying. So I see that Lion got the haste, and I immediately start going to mid because I know that they have a Lion, the Gyrocopter, and the Forged Spirits here with a Catapult all pushing. We don't have Glyph up, and they just got this tower, so I kind of want to defend the mid and see if we can kind of force something out of them. I know we have an XP advantage. Luckily our scan found the CM because of our ward. And, well, I don't know if CK should have stepped up that quickly. We were a little bit too far behind on the team thing. Boker just didn't want him to use his QQW, which he didn't have up, but I don't know. Maybe ult is unnecessary, but it's pretty low cooldown. I'm not too worried about it. We have DP ult up. They're not going to be coming back in, so probably shouldn't have used that, I think, because then we maybe could have gone for this push and had it go a little bit better. So we're actually dual smoked here, which is kind of fun to see. I don't ever see that very often in my games, at least, where it's like we're both smoked and looking for each other. But let's see how this goes. So we wanted to go for the gyro. I saw the Lion back off basically, and by the time that we had killed him, CM had to run all the way up here. I don't know why she was waiting down here. Maybe she was waiting for someone to come to the rune, but anyway, that's the way that went. So let's see. Right now we have a pretty big lead. We have 4,000 XP and 4,000 gold. So the win is looking pretty solid right now. All of our carries are doing quite well. CK is definitely lacking still, and I had noticed that about this point in the game and was kind of like, we need to just, well, I noticed it a little bit later, maybe like 15 minutes, and I basically was just like, we need to give him a little bit more space before we really go pushing. So it's a lot easier for the supports to make calls in the games because they have more time where they're not farming to look at other lanes and fights. Like, I'm sitting in base healing up because you know, I didn't have any health, and so I was able to watch that fight. I could tell people where they are. So now I know that there's 4 top, and with 4 top, even a Rubik and I can push. And I've got a buckler now because I'm gonna go for mech just because we're pushing and we're trying to end the game relatively quick against a Sven, and with a DP, like, we can push super fast and we have a really big advantage. I think if we get a mech quickly, then, you know, we win the game basically. So I go for buckler. I don't know why CM showed up to this. Another huge mistake from her. This is perhaps one of the times where most disruptors would have glimpsed, and instead I opted to let him come in because I knew we were really strong and I didn't really see them killing us because I knew there was still 4 top, so even 1 or 2 TPs isn't enough, especially with a double damaged Death Prophet. So push the tower. Let's see. I have buckler wards. I'm just going to continue getting sentries. It's kind of hard to know when to get sentries. Typically I just always buy them if, as a support, if I have money. If I don't have money, then I will maybe set it aside for something else. Okay, so from here, pretty much rinse and repeat. I mean, we're trying to just get the towers down before really anything else too major happens. So kind of speed it up here. We know that the Sven has tried to go on the Timber before, and so we can kind of take advantage of that. So basically we were just waiting here, and luckily even the Invoker TP'd in, and I was just like, okay, that's a free kill. Unfortunately he got away before I could get my Q on him again. I maybe should have glimpsed. I had sentries, but anyway, wasn't really important. And I said that, like, if he comes back out, we could just detect him. And really what we should have done is we should have known that he might have gone up in this way. rather than running out this way. I don't know. Yeah. Looks like he's getting pinged though. So because we had just taken that tower, I want to kind of open up the map a little bit. Like, we have a lot of access into their jungle, but it would be nice to be able to see their jungle. And so we wanted to ward up the jungle, which is why I asked Timber to come with me so that we could kind of go in and do that. And so usually a lot of people will ward like right up here, like see Lion just did it, and like here and here are really common spots. So I try to do a little bit out of the way, just because if I had warded there, then he would have dewarded that pretty quickly. And see, this is out of the range. It's kind of a little bit different. It's out of the range of a sentry that if you put here too as well. So and see, he tried to deward that because he knew that we were going to be coming into the jungle. So I wanted to place a little bit different wards than typical. Just so that we could ensure a little bit longer vision. And you'll see the players do that more often. You don't really want to just ward in the original spots. And right here I knew I was dead. I tried to glimpse in. I don't know if that really mattered. He ended up coming back into the fight, and I probably should have just said like, I'm dead, and maybe tried to buckler wand and pop a Q or something like that. But the reason we were so adamant about fighting right here is because of this stack that he was pulling, and so we wanted to try and clear up the stack. We don't really have the greatest clears, but because DP had used her ult for the fight, it worked out pretty well. We were able to clear the stack and move on from there. So our DP is 12 and 2, pretty high in the net worth. She's like 3k, 2k, 2.5k above the other top person on their thing. And right now I was telling him to just Timber Chain and TP away because he probably could have made it, but it's okay. Anyway, they ended up following pretty far for this, so we wanted to at least pressure them, and I just glimpsed this CM who was pretty low. Unfortunately, I missed the field on the CM, which would have been a lot better, but we got a kill on the Lion who tried to save the CM, which is something that I think a lot of supports make mistakes on, especially at my level. Is there's this notion of like trying to save your teammates as we go for this kill on the gyro. It should be pretty easy. I missed the field, but I have all my abilities up, so it's not really a big concern. Is that supports, or well, actually just all players really think that saving their teammate is going to be something that's really worth doing, and so they will like run in when it's 1v4 and try and like offer a stun to maybe support. But really what they're doing is just saying like, I'm gonna die as well, and it's something that I need to like stop doing, because I have done that quite a bit, mostly because people flame you for saying like, oh, you were right there, why didn't you help, you know? But sometimes you just have to ignore people and understand that whatever you did was better for the team, and that can be a little bit more useful. So something to criticize about the Rubik right here is that he's kind of last hitting, and or not last hitting, but auto attacking the tower. And I mean, they're not gonna go for very many kills, but if they do, he needs to be back so he can lift. He doesn't want to be the one that gets stunned or caught out first. He needs to be able to offer the counter initiation, which is why I was standing back. So as we look at this fight here, I've ultied the CM. I missed my barricade, but it wasn't really a big concern. Anyway, I was trying to get the gyro off of the DP who was getting kind of low. Maybe I should have saved it for the Sven, because we ended up losing this fight pretty hard. But I don't know, I made a couple of mistakes there, so let's maybe go back and look at that fight, see what I could have done better. Okay. So he TP's in, he's got a steal on the stun, and CK goes on the CM. I tried to ult the gyro before he got his ult off, and I got pretty slow on that. So let's see, my abilities were ult, and I didn't have barricade up either, so I need to save the barricade for once I ult, so that people that are stuck in it will actually be stuck in it rather than just running out of it pretty quickly. Makes the damage a lot lower and doesn't really offer that much in terms of like control, which Disruptor is, that's what he's for, is for controlling the fights. And I knew Invoker was kind of hunting me here, but he ended up following me really fast, or really hard, like all the way down here. And luckily I got off enough of my abilities that CK was able to TP in and get the kill on him, which was totally worth it for us. I'm not really sure what he was doing here, but that's okay. So tier 3's down, probably a good lane to push. We also have tier 2's up on both sides, so it means if we do go for one lane of racks, we can't just rotate over to the next. So something that we should be careful of when we go for the next fight. It might be a better idea to go for a tier 2 before we go for the racks, just so that if we do win the fight, it makes it a lot easier. But we're in a pretty solid position. I have my mech now, I have mana boots, I'm actually pretty close to Greaves, and so what I thought was that glimpsing would cancel the CM ult, which is why I did that, but I guess that doesn't work. Anyway, we have DP ult up and their Sven is down, so basically we can win the game right now. We're just going to finish up the racks. I got mech and I think I have Greaves on the way. No, not quite yet. And right now, like, since 3 are dead, like, it's totally okay to be standing up here and hitting the thing, because there's no way that they can engage on us, really. They can offer maybe a call down and a stun, but if he comes up too far, I can just Q him, and then when he tries to force staff or run away, I can glimpse him back in and we can kind of kill him. So the Lion can't really offer much, and the Gyro can offer a call down, which slows the push for sure, but not enough to matter. And at this point, we've pretty much won the game. I mean, we have a huge gold lead and a huge XP lead. Oftentimes you'll see teams throw this though, and I think it's because people end up going for more kills and being like, oh, I have a killing spree, like I'll just go for a few kills, and they think that they're so strong because everyone is getting kills, but really it's because we're all as a team, and then they go 1v4 and it doesn't really turn out so well. So you have to still be careful of that. As I get my Greaves off the courier, we're just going to finish up Roche, and I'm probably going to stop this replay pretty quick just because I don't necessarily need it. Yeah, so pretty much I guess that's it. I don't really have much else to say. I think I need to save my barrier for when I ult. I did it relatively well there. And then basically the early game ganks are really important. I was telling my team that we really don't care about this Sven pushing. Like, even if he gets 1 racks, we've already won, and it's not worth TPing back for. They listened for a little bit, and then eventually Timber, I think, died and recharged home. So that was probably okay at that point. I mean, losing range racks is worth getting a full range of racks for us, or a full lane of racks, when we already have another one. So it's a huge advantage already, and basically the game's over. We just kind of have to finish out. I wanted to get a force staff to clear this Sven. I wasn't sure if Glimmer or force would be better, but I think typically because he stuns and runs up, I think a force is going to be better because the cleave will still go through Glimmer cape, so you don't necessarily want to just have that. And then typically when you win games like this, you know, they just flame and ask you to report whoever was doing the worst, basically. But honestly, it's not about that. It's more about, like, the other team doing well, and I think that's the most important thing to remember. So anyway, thanks for watching. We can kind of finish up here, and I will post more like this, but I would love to know if there's something I missed that you feel like I should have done better or whatever. Definitely open for that kind of stuff. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks.